In January of 2019, over 80 new and unseen illustrations from the world of A Song of Ice and Fire will be on display in Berlin, Germany for a 4-day exhibit free to the public. These images were created by 40 men and women from around the world who worked as concept artists for the Game of Thrones TV show, and the exhibit was organized with the full blessing and support of George R.R. Martin. Those in attendance will also have access to an audio guide exploring the background of these regions with unique music composed for each room. As a preview to the event, we can explore some of the history behind the beautiful locations revealed in the trailer. During the reign of King Harwin Hardhand, the Ironborn went to war with the Kingdom of the Storm and took possession of the Riverlands to form the Kingdom of Isles and Rivers. When the king's son, Halleck, came into power, he chose a modest tower in Fairmarket for his seat. However, when his own son came into his crown, a new project was undertaken. Harren the Black, as he was known, sought to build a monument to himself in the form of a colossal fortress with walls so tall and thick, no army could ever hope to breach them. In the construction of Harrenhal by Sven Sauer and Grieg Howitt, we see the 5 mighty towers and colossal walls off in the distance, with a long line of people, perhaps workers, approaching. Desiring the highest hall and tallest towers in all of Westeros, King Harren's slaves and servants labored for 40 years in terrible conditions, with thousands dying before its completion. Built along the northern coast of the God's Eye, its construction drained the resources of both the Iron Islands and the Riverlands, and led the king to plunder neighboring kingdoms for stone, lumber, gold, and laborers. And yet, despite all of his efforts, Harren's dream was never truly realized, as the very day of Harrenhal's completion, Aegon the Conqueror of House Targaryen landed an army in Westeros, which included 3 large, fire-breathing dragons. When their fearsome armies arrived at the gates of Harrenhal, they were joined by an alliance of rebel lords from the Riverlands, who had turned their backs on King Harren, despising him for all the years of suffering he inflicted upon their lands. Despite being betrayed and surrounded by enemies, Harren refused to surrender, retreating into his fortress, where he and his sons were burned alive in a torrent of dragonfire. Due to the horrors committed in its construction and the fate of King Harren the Black, many believed Harrenhal was cursed, and as if to lend further credence to this belief, every family who ruled the fortress thereafter eventually presided over the demise of their house throughout the reign of the Targaryen kings. In the Great Tourney at Harrenhal by Sven Sauer, we see a party of knights on their way to the Great Fortress in 281 AC, where House Went was host to an event of enormous significance for all of Westeros, in which the seeds of civil war were planted. Though there were a great many interesting occurrences throughout the festivities, the tournament was remembered primarily for the actions of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, son of the Mad King Aerys II, who competed and emerged as champion, earning the right to crown a woman of his choice as Queen of Love and Beauty. Yet much to the surprise of those in attendance, he passed over his own wife, Elia Martell, to give the crown of blue roses to Lady Lyanna Stark, the betrothed of Lord Robert Baratheon of the Stormlands. This was later described as the moment when all the smiles died, as Rhaegar had in one action insulted House Martell, Stark, and Baratheon. A year later, Rhaegar was accused of kidnapping Lyanna Stark, and when her brother, the heir to Winterfell, rode to King's Landing seeking vengeance, he and his father were executed by the Mad King, leading the Starks as well as their allies in House Baratheon and Aeron to raise their banners in rebellion. Built along the rivers of the Mountains of the Moon, Strongsong by Renee Eigner depicts the seat of House Belmore, one of the most powerful families of the Vale. The Belmores of Strongsong were sworn bannermen to the Arryns of the Eyrie, who first rose to power during the Andal invasion of Westeros, thousands of years before the Targaryens took power. Though the First Men kingdoms of the area attempted to unite against the invaders, the Andals under Sir Ardys Arryn were eventually victorious, founding the Kingdom of Mountain and Vale. Though most of the First Men then surrendered and bent the knee to their new king, some few refused to submit and retreated into the mountains, forming clans who survived by raiding nearby villages and vulnerable travelers, though their poor weapons and ragged armor made them less of a threat to the lord of a mighty fortress like Strongsong. Built in a land once ruled over by 3 petty kings, The Golden Tooth by Manuel Grad reveals the seat of House Lefford, who served as vassals to the Lannisters after they conquered the Westerlands to form the Kingdom of the Rock. House Lefford traced their lineage back to the marriage of an Andal warlord to a lady of the First Men, and under the rule of House Lannister, were charged with the defense of this vital strategic position, as most armies had to pass by the Golden Tooth to attempt invasion from the east. The area also held significance for their gold mines, which helped make the Lannisters one of the richest families in all of Westeros. Originally founded as a military colony by the Dragon Lords of the Valyrian Freehold, Tyrosh by Claudio Pilia depicts the rich and prosperous city which developed upon an island in the Stepstones, becoming a popular center for commerce. The merchants of Tyrosh grew rich from the slave trade and continued to thrive even after the doom of Valyria, using their wealth to hire mercenaries to fight their wars. In their time as an independent city-state, Tyrosh was involved in a great number of conflicts, such as the unending wars against Lys and Myr for the disputed lands, and their attempts to conquer the Stepstones. They also defeated an invasion by Volantis, and became a refuge for House Blackfyre of Westeros, a family determined to overthrow their Targaryen kin and claim the Iron Throne of the Seven Kingdoms. Once known as a home to a race of diminutive forest dwellers, the Kingdom of Ifequevron by Chris Sanchez reveals a hauntingly beautiful scene in the ruins of a once thriving settlement. Named Ifequevron by the Dothraki, meaning those who walk in the woods, the inhabitants of this northern forest were said to be shy and gentle folk who wielded powerful magic and may have been kin to the children of the forest who once populated Westeros. Yet while nearby conquerors like the Dothraki respected the Woodwalkers and left them in peace, the Ibbenese from an island to the north had no such restraint and eventually swept through the territory, leaving behind only one ruined settlement, thereafter known as Vale, meaning City of Ghosts. In time, the Ibbenese retreated from much of this territory, defeated in their wars with the Horse Lords to the south. However, the Woodwalkers never recovered and largely vanished, leaving behind carved trees, haunted grottos, and strange silences in their absence. When the Westerosi adventurer Brian of Old Town journeyed aboard the Spear Shaker to visit the forested lands of Ifequevron, the local Ibbenese told him stories about the Woodwalkers, claiming that some of them still existed and blessed those who left offerings of leaf, stone, and water. Once known as the Festival City, Croyane by Falk Boya depicts the richest and most powerful of the Rhoynar cities, who ruled over much of western Essos before the conquest of the Valyrian Freehold. Described as olive-skinned with dark hair and eyes, the city-states of the Rhoynar were fiercely independent, but also united by culture, language, and religion, devoted to the worship of the goddess mother Rhoyne. Though conflict with the Valyrians was avoided for a time, while the Dragon Lords conquered the Andals along the northern and western coasts, war proved inevitable, leading Prince Garren the Great of Croyane to unite the Rhoynish armies, raising 250,000 warriors, accompanied by powerful water wizards. Yet in the end, they could not contend with Dragonfire, seeing their final defeat in the Second Spice War around 700 years before the Targaryen conquest of Westeros. With the army defeated, Prince Garren the Great was captured and locked in a golden cage, where he was to be forced to watch his beloved home of Croyane destroyed. But legends say Prince Garren resisted, calling upon the goddess mother Rhoyne to curse these lands and destroy the invaders, resulting in a violent flood which drowned everyone in the area. In the years that followed, the ruins of the sunken city became known as the Sorrows, a land of darkness and disease, where some say a mysterious shrouded lord rules over stone men, preying upon those who become lost in the grey mists. Far to the east of the known world, beyond the Bone Mountains of central Essos, the Bleeding Sea by Sven Sauer and Grieg Howitt depicts the infamous lake, whose waters appear red due to a type of blooming plant in the area. Yet despite the modest origins of its coloring, the suggestion of violence in the name of these waters is not out of place, as stories say it is surrounded by lands of war and wicked magics. To the west lay the plains of the Jogos Nhai, ruled over by a nomadic warrior race, famed for their ferocity in battle, while in the south there is the Golden Empire of Yi Ti, the most powerful realm east of the Bone Mountains, constantly trying to expand or defend their borders. To the north, there is the secret city of Nefer, believed to be home to necromancers and torturers, as well as Musavi, a great grey forest populated by shape-changers and demon hunters. To the east, there are the raiders of a cold desert known as the Grey Waste, the land of shrieks, roamed by shrieking monsters, and the city-state of Kadath, where the inhabitants perform horrific rituals to feed the hunger of their mad gods. For more information about the Unseen Westeros exhibit, like where to get tickets, or for more about the artists and organizers behind the event, please be sure to check out the links in the description box below. And if you would like to contribute to the success of this unique project, which is free to the public, be sure to explore their Kickstarter page and give what you can.